So the I in our pie is all about how well can you think on your feet? Because sometimes we're going to be in situations where we cannot prepare speech and we have to take action. And that's what today's theme is about. Five, four, three, two, one. You have to launch, you have to get up. So, American actor Wesley Snipes is noted for saying, "Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done, once you finish the task at hand." And it's been scientifically proven that your brain wants you to fail. And I know you're anything like me, scratching your head and saying, "How can my brain want me to fail? It's my brain." But when the brain detects that something is happening outside of its comfort zone, it takes you back to a place where you feel fear and where you don't want to move forward. But there is a solution. And the best solution is to go head to head with your biggest fear. So taking a risk. And according to a Houston Business Review article, many people are afraid to lead for multiple reasons. That can be the fear of being blamed, the fear of losing really important relationships, or just the fear of taking risks. But we know it's important to be a leader and to lead because most people, according to various statistics, that's one of the top 5 causes for people to leave their place of employment. So today we are talking about leading. So, for my first question, what advice would you give someone who is going into a leadership position for the first time? What advice would you give someone who is going into a leadership position for the first time? Do any of our guests want to volunteer for this question? Ben, would you like to go?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'll go ahead and say the question one more time. What advice would you give someone going into a leadership position for the first time?
Okay. Well, I would say that it's not about them. It's like you can't be a dictator. You can lead by example in some ways, but a lot of times you have to find the best in people by encouraging them. You basically tell the person that if you encourage, understand everybody's going to be different. Everybody has something to add. And if you can find out what people have to add, you will get the best out of people. So, and that comes from encouraging them, being being willing to listen. Always have a plan of what you want to do, but be willing to listen to advice. And you don't have to always take it, but you have to be willing to listen because sometimes there's a better way of doing things. And so if you're willing to listen, you have that emotional intelligence, you're willing to encourage people and not just be a taskmaster, then I think you have an opportunity for success. And so that would be a lot of the advice that I would give them. And I also would tell people that don't be scared of the opportunity because it's wonderful when you can take a leadership position. So don't be fearful of that position. And that would be all I would have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ben. And you
I don't,
said something that's so important, emotional intelligence. You can have as much intellectual intelligence, but if you don't have emotional intelligence, then you're probably not going to get too far. So, definitely, emotional intelligence is so important. And that leads me to my second question. There's a quote that reads, "A leader is a dealer in hope." A leader is a dealer in hope. So, my question is, what does being a leader mean to you? Does anyone want to volunteer to answer that question? What does being a leader mean to you? Any volunteers? Akin, yes. Please tell us, what does being a leader mean to you?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. What does being a leader mean to me? I had a quote yesterday that goes thus: if you are a leader and you stop being a student, you will soon become irrelevant. I say it again. If you are a leader and you stop being a student, that means you stop being the led, you will soon become irrelevant. Leadership to me, you are actually a servant of many people. You may not know everything that your team's supposed to be responsible for, but you take responsibility for the work of the team. Leadership to me is service. And like I've shared with many of you in the past, I have 5 values: respect, authenticity, integrity, service, and excellence. The service piece is what many leaders meet. They don't want to serve, they just want to lead. They don't want to respect the people they're working with. They want to treat them just like essential commodities. So to me, leadership is all about service. Without you having the service mindset, you cannot be an effective leader. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, Ekin. That is so true. It's definitely about being a servant to others and helping them grow. I think it was John Maxwell that said, before you become a leader, you grow yourself. Once you become a leader, you grow others. So I definitely agree. So with the theme of service, according to John Maxwell, again, the measure of a leader is not how many people serve you, but how many people you serve. So how do you measure success as a leader? How do you measure success as a leader? Would anyone like to volunteer for that question? Ola.
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. How do you measure success as a leader? I believe every leader should have a vision. And that vision tells the team and the leader himself where he is going. The vision allows the leader to communicate the destination, the project product for that team. And how we measure a leader is how they get there. The end does not always justify the means. How is the relationship with the team? Were the people better off after getting to the destination? Or the leader has used a slave master mentality to push people to destination, forcing them to do things that they don't want to do again. So how do I measure a leader will be, did you get to your destination? How did you treat your team? Were the team members better at the end of the journey than they were before? Were you able to raise new leaders that will be able to take even the idea further than where the leader was thinking? So that is how I will measure a leader. Not only getting to a destination, but making sure the team gets there with a good morale. Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, Ola. And Madam Timer, do I have time for any more questions?
Yes, you do.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, my next question, it goes off of a Japanese proverb. You fall 7 times, but you get up 8. What has been one of your biggest challenges as a leader, and how did you overcome it? What have been some of your biggest challenges as a leader, and how have you overcome it? Any volunteers? Well, I see Jorge is off mute. So Jorge, do you want to answer this question for us?
Yes, thank you very much, Table Topic Master. Definitely, I have had many challenges as a leader many times, and I have fallen many times too. But I think among all the different challenges, the biggest challenge I have faced as a leader is when my leaders don't believe in me or my team. And I have experienced that before, that you have a good team, you work with your team, you actually perform to the level that you think is good. But then your upper management or people in leadership positions in organizations, they don't believe that your team can succeed, and you have to fight for your team. And I think that's when it's important for you to be a strong team, when you can go and defend your team, and defend every single member of your team. So I have been through those situations in several times in organizations when, even though we are performing well, we have a very good team that sometimes takes years to assemble. People without any knowledge of the team or the dynamics, they try to dismiss your team, break it apart, basically bombard your efforts in many ways. And I think you have to be strong, and you have to fight, and you have to fight for the people that you believe in. And that's what a good team leader is. And I've seen that, and personally, I haven't never been in the army or in the military forces, but I have heard from military leaders that that's what they have to do, and that's what they have to do when they are in battle. They have to fight for the people in their team to death sometimes. Thank you very much, Miss. It's Topic Toastmasters.
Thank you so much, Jorge. I loved your sentiments because, like Akin and Ola were saying, it is about service. So you have to vouch for those on your team. All right. So our next question. Forbes described an effective leader as someone who is self-motivated, a strategic thinker, an effective communicator, and someone who is accountable for their actions. What are the most important attributes of a successful leader? What are the most important attributes of a successful leader? Does anyone want to volunteer to answer that question? All right, well, I'm going to call on our second guest, Yolanda Bynum. If you could help us answer that question, what are the most important attributes of a successful leader?
Thank you. Madam Table Topics Master, it's an interesting question because I've actually heard through all of the answers from before some pretty accurate characteristics of a leader. For me, I'm a leader in my company, and I do ministry, so I'm a leader in ministry as well. But my most important, I believe, my most important level of leadership comes being a mother. You have these three little beings that, well, they're not little anymore. They're 24, 21, and 12, and all of them are taller than me, so they're not little. But you try to lead by example. So I believe a willingness to put yourself on the line and let them be your mirror, I think, is one of the most important aspects of and characteristics of leadership. First of all, leading by example, most definitely. The second one is service. I've heard service. You have to be willing to serve, whether you feel like it or not. It's not about deserving. It's about unconditional love. When I lead them, I do so in love. I do so in service. And I think the last one is sacrifice. Definitely, as a mother leading this troop of people that are just like me, I think there has to be a level of sacrifice as well. You have to put them ahead of yourself. And, from my perspective, that's going to give me the efficacy that I desire. And I've done this for a long time, leading them that way. Again, my oldest two are 24 and 22. They are brilliant people, productive members of society. They would do anything for each other, including me and their little brother. I think that in itself speaks volumes and says that I've led them well. So, Madam Table Topics Master, those are the characteristics I think would make an effective leader. Back over to you.
Thank you so much, Yolanda. So yes, there are some overlapping things. All right, so I believe I have time for one or two more questions. Yes, I'm seeing Susan nodding, so yes. So My other question is, I know sometimes if you're anything like me, you can be on your computer and you just don't get off with work. You have your phone, you have your watch, you have all of your devices pinging at all hours. And my question is, do you prefer a work-life balance or do you prefer work-life integration? And what does that mean to you? So do you prefer a work-life balance or work-life integration? And what does that mean to you? So do I have any volunteers to answer that question? Any volunteers? Okay, well, I think I'm going to call on our president, Avi, to answer that question for us.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. It's a wonderful question, whether you want to have your life running in a work-life balance mode or in a work-life integration mode. When I joined the industry, it was a highly emphasized concept of work-life balance, meaning you get to work at 8 and then maybe you want to sign off by 5 o'clock. That was a decade back. Now, with the changing atmosphere, environment, and high-tech ways of doing things, we have evolved how we work. Especially in my case, I can start working at X hour, work doesn't stop. In my organization, we've called something like follow the sun concept, meaning where the sun is rising, your office doors are opening. Our offices are in US, offshore, name it. That's the tradition it's moving towards right now. And as leaders, we have to be up. We have to be ready to serve whenever there is a call of duty. If our offshore team or some other team gives me a call at night, 10 o'clock, I should be there to help them out. So this is basically my philosophy right now, work-life integration. There is no thin line when the work ends or when the work or personal life starts. It's all we need to balance it. So it's a hybrid model or enhanced model of work-life balance. We call it work-life integration. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, Avi. All right, so I have our final question. So Susan, I think we have time for one more question.
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and omit that question, and I will provide a recap. So our first speaker, Ben, he talked about leadership positions for the first time and advice to offer. So he talked about being encouraging, being willing to listen, and not being scared of taking an opportunity. Our second speaker, and he was talking about what being a leader means to him. He said, keep learning, and he said, you are a servant for other people. Our third speaker was Ola, and his question was, how do you measure success as a leader? He spoke that every leader has a vision. It's important to reflect, and it's important to find success through your team. That's how you know you're being successful as a leader. And then our fourth speaker was Jorge. His question was, what was the biggest challenge that you faced at work, and how do you overcome it? One of his biggest challenges was leadership, maybe not believing in him and his team, but to overcome that, he was strong and he vouched for his teammates. And then we had Yolanda, who talked about the characteristics of being a leader. She said leading by example was important, service and sacrifice. And finally, we had Avi, who said he would prefer life integration over work-life balance, and he follows the sun concept. So those are our speakers. First, we had Ben. Second, we had Akin. Third, we had Ola. Fourth, we had Jorge. Fifth, we had Yolanda. And then sixth, we had Avi. So Madam Timer, did all of our speakers qualify for voting?
Yes, all of them are qualified.